Students for Reform UK have faced death threats and harassment just days after launching at the University of Sussex. Despite university approval, online posts threaten violence, including firecrackers and personal attacks. Organisers say they fear for their safety but are determined to attend the Freshers' Fair. The university has condemned the threats, yet critics argue free speech on campus is increasingly limited for those with dissenting views. I'm now joined by the journalist and commentator Ellie Hodges. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, Ellie, you posted about this story on X. You wrote a Substack about it. So, give us the background then.
So what happened is the students reached out to me and just said, we've tried to set up this society and there's just been immediate backlash and, as you said, threats, death threats even, and harassment, and literally the most violent comments as well. And people are doing this on their public accounts, and I think this is again just showing how in universities there is a left-wing culture there, and I think they'd say they have free speech, but only if you're actually left-wing. If you have a different view, clearly it's not accepted within the university. And it's a shame, it's a real shame as well, because these people have put themselves forward to do this, setting up a society, and this is the response that they have been given. And you read out some of the comments, but the kind of comments they were getting was, I hope you get set on fire, have you considered jumping off the pier, can't wait to meet the society so I know who I'm throwing eggs at. This kind of rhetoric in public comments. And as I say, it's such a shame.
It's like hundreds of messages, right? Hundreds,
even thousands. And this is happening all on a public Instagram post. So anyone can go and scroll through these comments, people on their public accounts saying this. So, as I said, it's on public accounts, so clearly they're comfortable enough to say it publicly as well, which is really concerning. So one of the comments actually said about organising action against the groups. They're actually ready to, there's been accounts such as anti-fascist groups that are saying we need to shut down this reform society. One of the comments said, you cannot promote initiatives like scholarships for Palestinian students and publicly commit to equality while allowing a society that encourages segregation, racism, xenophobia and hostility towards certain groups. Freedom of belief does not mean universities should legitimise or provide platforms for discriminatory ideology. I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever heard reform support segregation or racism or xenophobia. And yet they feel comfortable saying that, and you have to think, why do they think like this? Is this because what lecturers are telling them? Is this the culture that's in university, as I said? But Dylan, who is the president of the society, leader of the society, has said that he's working to keep the committee and its members strong and motivated, but understandably they feel really anxious now for their own safety. But they will be at the Freshers' Fair, out of principle, proving that they will not be silenced. And I think that's really, really brave, that they, even though they're getting all this abuse, they're still going to go and show their face.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind the more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
I mean, people got to remember, these are like 18-year-old, 19-year-olds. I mean, I think it's weird that they're into politics. I was just wanting to drink and meet girls, but, fair dues.
Yeah.
But this is obviously a massive problem, and it's not just isolated to University of Sussex. There are other reform societies set up around the country. I think York University, their student union, also sort of put out a statement kind of saying, oh, well, you know, there's nothing we can do because there's the Freedom of Speech Act, but you should try to write to your MP and get them to change this, i.e. shut down free speech because we don't like what these people are saying. There's also Warwick University where a councillor was speaking, is that right?
Yeah.
Similar statement going out.
Well, he got a shoe thrown at him, which is even worse. That's physical assault. And that's how the university students thought was appropriate to greet someone who was just going there to debate as well. That's all, a lot of the time, that's all these people are trying to do. They're going to universities to debate, to speak to the students, find out what their view is. It doesn't need to be the same as theirs. The point is, universities should be there for debate. And at the moment, they're not. They're becoming an echo chamber for left-wing ideology.
Well, I would say that, I don't know if it's becoming. I think they have been now for decades,
definitely.
arguably. The question, what's interesting now and what's changed it is, I think, are two things. One is the rhetoric against reform has been so inflamed. And you have someone like Lisa Nandy essentially calling people fascists and overuse of that word. So you're going to get these 18-year-olds, and if they only watch BBC or read The Guardian, they genuinely are going to believe that Reform are a fascist party. But the other interesting element is that before, I think, some of these, they wouldn't necessarily have been able to start these societies. What's happened now is they have to, because of this new law that's in place. So we're seeing a very kind of reluctant student union and university system now having to kind of go along with it. They're not making it easy for them, I understand, though, but they are going along with it.
Yep, and I think the problem is as well, if I was at that university and I was thinking, you know what, I want to join the society, I wouldn't do it if I knew that I was going. It's accompanied by death threats, harassment, and social exclusion, basically. So I think that's
they should join the Jewish Society instead. None of that will happen.
But yeah, no, I just think this story is really shocking. And it's a shame that this is what's happened to our universities, because they should be a beacon of free speech. They should be where all different opinions can be debated, where people from all across the political spectrum can have different opinions and talk about it. Because a lot of the time you learn by having conversations with people who you disagree with. I try to do it as much as possible to see the other side. And just, you either come out of it, your mind changed, or you come out of it thinking, actually, no, I stay firm in my beliefs.
And you can refine your own arguments, of course. And certainly universities are meant to be the spaces set up to allow that to happen. There's also, I believe, the Cambridge Society of Women, that they've had similar issues with complaints and students kind of essentially attacking them. The threats of violence here are obviously very concerning. What have the police done?
So I think, from my understanding, the students have put forward police reports and nothing's happened yet, but hopefully something will. But it's really hard to kind of understand what are they meant to do, because there's thousands and thousands of these comments. Can they realistically go through every single one of them? I don't know.
Well, they could do it if, well, that's exactly, well, they've been doing it now for, again, the last 5 years. Suddenly, oh, actually, no, we believe in free speech.
That's the problem. It seems like it's one rule for one, another for a different group of people. So that's the issue here.
Because these identities, as you say, they're public. They're
all public.
They know their names. I'd heard that the police said we can't actually identify who these people are, so we can't pursue it.
Well, that's definitely not true, because I could even identify who they are, because these are public accounts. Some even first and second names. So, you know, as I said before, we need to address the reason why these people are actually comfortable in saying this kind of thing publicly.
No, absolutely. And University of Sussex, I have to be very clear, they have supported, they put out statements supporting the Reform Society. Also, University of Sussex has been fined over £500,000 for the treatment of Kathleen Stock. So obviously they are very invested in making sure that they have free speech at their university, but it's a shame that students have to go through this. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.